Jake, you're a piece of shit. A piece of shit. Oh, Jake, you suck.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Talking to Myself. I'm your host, Jake Letizia, and this is the podcast where I look at a camera and I talk to myself. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see my stupid face with my goddamn maroon shirt on, and if you're listening, you just hear the sultry sounds of my stupid fucking voice. And you know what? It probably sounds pretty good because I got a new microphone, my guy. I got a new microphone, you fucks. So I realized that the last microphone I used, remember, if you guys listen to podcasts, if this is the newest podcast, you might not know what I'm talking about for the first 10 minutes or the first 3 minutes or however long it takes me to explain the new microphone. But if you have been a listener for a long time, you're going to want to hear this info because it shows how fucking dumb I am. So when I first was doing the podcast, I was holding the mic, and it was making a lot of noise every time I touched it, a lot of like just like shitty feedback noise. If I knew more technical terms for audio, I would sound more intelligent right now, but for me, it's just a feedback noise because I'm a dummy. And so I had that mic, and I was like, why is it making so much noise every time I shift it from one hand to another? I listened to other podcasts, and I was like, there's no sound when they move the mic they're holding from one hand to the other. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe that's why everyone has these arms in their podcasts. Because if they didn't have these arms, then they'd be touching the mic, and they'd be making sounds with the mic, which is partially true, but not as true as I thought. Because then I looked up better mics, and I started seeing that a lot of these handheld mics, a lot of these fucking stand-up live performance mics, right, that people have been using have not been the one that I was using for the first 18 podcasts, but instead it was a very professional mic called the SM58, which is a professional microphone. It's that classic stand-up microphone that's silver on top. Like if I took the windscreen off this, it'd be silver on top, and it's just a thin black handle. Anyway, people compare it to a fucking... Everyone online is like, oh, it should be in your toolbox. You could use it as a hammer to hammer a nail in. That's how sturdy and durable it is. All right, dude. Don't do that. I get it. It's fucking thick, and it's good, and it works well, and it lasts long, but... Dude, it sounds like my fucking dick, bro. That's what she said, dude. Oh, dude. I'm fucking high school Jake, bro. That's what she said, dude. Thick, sturdy, and last long, bro. That's what she fucking said, bro. Anyway, childishness aside, dude, I can't fucking speak right now. But holy shit, Vishnu. Childishness aside, that's a tongue twister. I realized that this microphone, I don't want to toot how much it costs. Ooh, I'm flowing in money. No, I'm not. It actually set me back quite a bit just to buy this fucking microphone. It's not even that expensive. But to put it in perspective, then I looked up the mic I had been using, and I realized, this microphone is $20. The microphone I've been using for the first 18 podcasts that kept having every time I say a word with P, every time I said podcast or anything like that, the mic popped so fucking aggressively. And I was like, God damn it, what is wrong with me? Is it a user error? What's going on? And then I found out, I was using a $20 microphone because a couple of years ago, a few years old $20 microphone, because a couple of years ago I wanted like a live performance mic for stand-up and whatnot, and I bought the cheapest one possible, so I've been using this cheap, shitty, no wonder it's making fucking horrible sounds microphone. So I finally upgraded. So all that aside, what was that, fucking 5 minutes on technical bullshit that you guys don't care about? All that aside, what's up? I'm Jake Letizia, I'm your host, and this is the podcast. Thank you for listening so far. We've made it. Episode 19. We're almost at 20. We're almost at 20. And I'm thinking about if I should do something special every 10 episodes, or should I do everything special every quarter of 100 episodes. I think it might be 25. I think at episode 25, I'm going to I think every 25 episodes, I'm going to reveal something very embarrassing on the podcast. Something that I don't really want to tell people. Things that I want to eventually say or talk about because I think they're funny stories, but they're funny at my severe expense. Like, there's stories about me early on in dating, or me when I was in high school, things that, like, I'm embarrassed to this day that I did, and they're fucking so goddamn cringy. And you guys will probably like hearing somebody talking about something they don't want to admit has ever happened to them. So I'm going to start doing that because fuck it, you know? I don't know. I just... I know a lot of people, I mean, it's the case for me. If anything is the case for you, it's the case for a lot of people. No one is that specific. Any experience you have that feels specific, its specificity is what makes it general to everyone else. Like, if you watch a movie about a love story, I think I've said this before, the more specific that movie is about a certain relationship, the more you weirdly connect it to weird specifics in your relationship. So these cringy tales I'm going to tell them because I know everybody fucking out there has some weird, cringy shit that they don't want to admit they did, or they don't want to admit they said, or they don't want to admit ever fucking happened. Because why would you? Because you don't want people to look at you differently. But you know what, dude? If I can make 25 of these dumbass podcasts of me just talking to myself for an hour, and you guys are awesome enough to be listening to these things, you've earned me being severely uncomfortable and saying something I don't want to admit on camera. All right? So tune in for episode 25, those who've been listening, and those who maybe want to try out the podcast. Episode 25 will be the most embarrassing for sure. So if you want some dirt on me, tune in then. Also, July 7th, Sunday, July 7th, 7:30, Pine Box Rock Shop in Brooklyn, New York. Come to the show. It's going to be great. It's a fucking stand-up show with me and Josh Nasser hosting. We got some amazing fucking comics on the show. It's going to be incredible. I'm going to be promoting it on Facebook and Instagram this week. And it's not a big venue. I get like a handful of people listening to this every week. So if just the handful just the handful, dude, I have strokes on this podcast where I fucking tongue my tie together and I can't speak. Anyway, so if the handful of people who listen to this show up to the show, it'll probably be packed out. So if you like this podcast, if you like comedy, if you're not doing shit on a Sunday night, because let's be honest, you're not doing shit on a Sunday night, might as well come down to Pine Box Rock Shop in Brooklyn, New York at 7:30 on July 7th and have a wonderful time with me and other comedians. Anyway, all that fucking aside, I was like fucking 10 minutes, dude. 10 minutes of bullshit. Anyway, this is what I want to talk about. Okay, so I was with my parents the other night, and they were watching the Walenda siblings. I think that's what they're called. The Walendis, the Walendi boys. This brother and sister who were walking this tightrope that was 25 stories high and 5 miles apart in Times Square. And it was a big deal, and they had all the fucking Today Show people. I don't know, all those fucking boring, soulless daytime TV hosts were in Times Square going like, well, I can't believe it. This is so nuts. I'm afraid of heights. I can't believe they're not. And that fucking Christian dude with the super white teeth who hates refugees was there, who's like, nah, dude, refugees can't come in my church. Everyone loves God, but I don't like refugees, so get them the fuck out of my church. That guy, that fucking asshole, he was there supporting them with his wife, who I guess never speaks. I don't know if that's a rule that they came to together or if she just doesn't speak, but I mean, knowing this guy and how much he hates refugees and how much he loves the big man upstairs, and follows the Bible to a T, he probably is like, hey, honey, don't fucking speak when I'm on TV, all right? If that's the case, divorce the guy. That's what I'm saying right now. But then again, Christianity is a weird religion where they're like, you can't ever divorce. If you're devout, they're still like, you can't ever divorce. It's fucked up if you divorce. That can really trap you in a bad marriage, huh? Anyway, I'm not trying to talk about that. I'm trying to talk about the Walenda siblings. And as my mother would say, that's not all Christians, Jake. It's just the piece of shit ones. Dude, I showed my mom this fucking evangelist who was approached by Inside Edition. Have you seen this? And she's like, why did you say that flying on a plane with other people is like flying on a tube with demons? And he's like got these piercing blue eyes, these piercing like, I mean, he looks like a fucking demon if you've seen this video. And she goes, well, do you think human beings are demons? And he goes, I never said that, and I would never say that. Don't you ever say I said that. Because the Bible, like he turns on a dime. He goes from like yelling at this woman to smiling. Listen, dude, I'm pretty good at doing that, like as a joke, yelling and then smiling right away, like, you motherfucker. I'm pretty good at that when it's intentional, but this was just from this guy's soul. He's good at changing from angry, I want to kill you, to very smiley and happy, and I'm giving you the wisdom of God in a fucking moment. And that's the demonic behavior, to be honest. Anyway, I'm all over the place. Inside Edition. Anyway, what I was saying was there's some evil people in Christianity. There's some people who aren't, okay? The demonic evangelist who flips on a dime, who goes from angry to happy on a dime, he's not a good guy. The dude Osmond, I don't even know his name. The dude who won't let refugees in his church, probably a piece of shit. But my mom, very Christian, she's a nice lady. Anyway, back to the Walendas. Here's the thing about the Walendas. They were hyping this event up, and they were saying all this shit. Also, if you're in New York and you do a tight rope walk, and it's like city certified and city mandated, and you have a permit and everything, and they're live broadcasting on television, then you have to be strapped in with a harness. And they kept saying like, oh, they're strapped in with a harness, but if they fall, they're still going to get hurt. I love that. They're like, listen, guys, I know you guys won't watch it unless there's potential that they're going to get fucking demolished. So please watch. Like they kept hyping it up by showing how this woman like very recently was severely injured. They're like, oh, they tried to do like an 8-man fucking pyramid tightrope walk. I forgot what it was called. It was called like I don't know. Maybe it was called the tightrope pyramid walk. Anyway, they got like 8 people to fucking walk on this tightrope. And they show footage and they're like, oh, this footage may be disturbing to some viewers. They show footage of like these people fucking, it's like 3 triangles all walking on a tightrope. 3 triangles of people. So it's like fucking 3 6-person or 4 or 5-person triangles trying to walk together as they're all holding those like balancing bars that people walk on. Or that people hold when they're on like very high tight ropes. They're like balancing bars to account for the wind. Anyway, even though they were indoors in like a circus area in this video, so like, where's the wind, dude? Isn't the fucking tent blocking the wind, bro? Anyway, I don't know anything about physics, so who knows? But anyway, you see these 3 triangles of people, and guess what happens? They start falling in the video because guess what? You're 5 people stacked on one another. No shit, you're going to fall. Don't do that. Why can't you just stop at walking the tightrope by yourself? Why do you have to escalate to, hey, let me stand on top of you and you stand on top of me and we'll all stand on top of each other and then we'll walk the tightrope? No, man, just walk the tightrope, okay? It's impressive enough. Don't add shit. I fucking hate when people do that. Hey, man, I can bench press 500 pounds. Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, but I can also bench press 500 pounds while running off a cliff. Hey, man, just do the bench press. Don't add shit to your already impressive thing. If I met a dude who could fly, who had the ability of flight, And he was like, dude, I have the ability to fly, but also I can weave in and out of planes. I'd be like, dude, don't fly anywhere near planes. Keep living and have the power of flight. Don't add shit. Anyway, so I'm watching this video, and the shocking part happens. They all fall. And, they fall onto a mat. My friend was like, well, don't they fall onto a mat? I'm like, yeah, but a mat doesn't really matter when you're fucking 20 feet up. Or they were like 10, 15 feet up. This woman's watching them fall. They're interviewing her in the documentary, and she's like, it was so disturbing. I looked away because I didn't want to see, and then I just heard them hitting the floor. And in the video, you could see her like watching them from the side because she's on like the platform next to the tightrope where you like start the walk. And she's looking at them, and then they start falling, and then she just turns away. And it's like, oh, dude, man. It's like they're purposely going like, dude, this is a dangerous thing. These people might die. Like, they were really hyping up the danger factor, even though they're fucking strapped in. Okay? You're not going to fool me. They weren't strapped in the tent when they're doing the 8-man pyramid fucking, what are you doing? Just calm down and walk it by yourself maneuver, you know? They weren't strapped in with that. That's why the danger happened. But now that they're in New York City, they're strapped in, okay? So first of all, I'm not that impressed because they're going to be strapped in. I'm impressed because it's impressive, right? But it's not. They keep trying to hype up the scariness like they could get hurt, but they can't get hurt, so stop trying to fool me with the danger factor. And last but not least, Phillippe Petit already walked across the Twin Towers. Okay, dude? Phillippe Petit, the Frenchman, oui, I walk across buildings. Give me my cigarette. I'm about to walk between the Twin Towers illegally. All right? I'm about to catcall the females of New York from 100 stories up. That guy, that dirty fucking Frenchman, he already walked across a 110-story building. Okay? So all this hype, all this, what's that football player's name with the lisp? That guy. Whatever, I forget his name. What is it? What's it, Regis and Kelly? The only reason why I know Regis and Kelly's names is because their show is their name. That's why they call the show Regis and Kelly, because when Regis was still on it, everyone kept going, what the fuck are the name of those hosts? And then at some point, one of them was like, listen, just call the show our names. That's how forgettable daytime television is, that you need the show to be the exact people's names or else nobody's going to fucking know what it's called. Is it Michael Strahan? It's Michael Strahan, right? I think it's, Michael Strahan. Okay, so he is like, I'm afraid of heights. I can't even believe this. This is crazy. And they keep hyping it up. But Phillippe Petit already did it, dude. You can't hype me up on a 25-story high tightrope walk when I already saw a movie. I saw well, I didn't see the documentary, but the documentary exists. There's a documentary, and there's a Robert Zemeckis late period actual good film starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt, where he walks across the Twin Towers 9 times. I didn't watch the documentary, so when I saw that movie, first of all, I saw the trailer for the walk, and I was like, this looks terrible. This looks so boring. How are you going to make a movie about a guy walking across the Twin Towers? It's going to be a boring movie. But you know what? It was amazing. It was tense. It was thrilling. Joseph Gordon-Levitt does a great bad French accent. Well, no, it's good. It's like good, but it's like good in the same way Viggo Mortensen's Italian accent is good in Green Book, in that like it's like good, but at the same time it's kind of, I mean, if I was French, I'd probably be like, all right, dude, I get it, you're French. Like the same way I heard Viggo Mortensen, I was like, all right, dude, I get it, you're fucking Italian, okay? I understand. You're trying to sound like, hey, what are you talking about? Use. He kept saying use, and I was like, all right, dude, Italians don't really say use that much, okay? Use is what a normal white dude writes an Italian person to say. Oh, yeah, they say shit like use, right? Add an S to his U. My dad has never said yous in his life. He says you. Hey, what's going on with you? You, not yous. Anyway, doesn't matter. My point is, I didn't care, dude. I couldn't care. You couldn't get me to care. I understand that the Twin Towers were only 200 feet apart. But you know what? He walked across it 8 times. Have you seen that movie? Spoiler alert if you haven't seen The Walk or the documentary. But he doesn't just walk across it once. He walks across it, right? And then the cops find out because he does it illegally with no harness. All of his friends are like, you have to use a harness. Like, no one's even going to see a harness. You can pretend like you don't have one. But, like, you're going to die if you fall from that high, obviously. I mean, if you fall from 25 feet, you're going to die. 10 feet, you might die. So they're like, you got to wear a strap. And he's like, no, dude, I'm not going to do that because I'm sick, because I'm awesome. And if I'm going to break the law to walk across the Twin Towers, I might as well risk my life doing it. So he walks across with no okay from the city. They don't know what's going to happen. He's from France. He's from a different country. It's already hard enough to be from America and pull this off. But he's from France, sneaks into the Twin Towers, shoots a bow and arrow across the 2 towers and then somebody on the other side catches the arrow, and then they tie the tightrope across the Twin Towers, and then he walks across it, and as he walks across it, all these cops come up, right? And so he goes, well, the moment I get off this rope, I'm not going to be able to walk it anymore, and I feel so good. This feels so thrilling. I might as well just keep walking across it. So as the cops on either side keep being like, yo, dude, get the fuck off the rope. This is illegal. We're going to arrest you, you dumb Frenchman. Not my words, the cops' words. Dude, New York City police do not like French people, all right? That's a fact. They're like, get off, Frenchie. Hey, Pepe Le Pew, your time's up. Instead of getting off, he goes, oh, I'm going to walk as many times as I want. Again, dude, that was that French or that? Every time I do a French accent, it starts sounding like a fucking racist Asian accent. That was French, okay? If you felt like that was offensive, I was doing French. But he goes, oh, oui, oui, I have to do, oh. Whenever you're doing a French accent and it starts not sounding French and sounding like something you shouldn't be doing, just start going, oh, oui, oui, oh. Which is the most offensive way to do a French accent. All we do is moan and grunt. Anyway, so he was like, fuck it, and he just kept walking across the thing. He kept turning around with that giant balance beam that looks like if you turn with it, you're just going to fall to your death. But he doesn't. He stoically turns and keeps walking back and forth across this fucking tightrope until he doesn't feel like it anymore. And then he gets off the tightrope and then he gets arrested immediately. And in the movie, you know, he gets bailed out by his girlfriend, and then he goes and like is in love with his girlfriend and lives happily ever after. In real life, in the documentary, which I didn't see, but I heard this, what he really does is he gets bailed out by his girlfriend, and he immediately like walks into the New York City subway, and like the first woman he meets, he like goes out with her and has sex with her. Which, come on, dude, that's the most French thing you could possibly do. That is the most French thing you could possibly do in your life. Walk across the Twin Towers in a turtleneck. I'm pretty sure he does it in a turtleneck. He walks across the Twin Towers in a turtleneck and then gets bailed out by his girlfriend and has sex with the first woman he sees. That isn't his girlfriend. There's nothing more French than that, okay? The only thing more French than that is if the following morning he had crepes with that girl. And then he painted a picture of her and said, "You're my love." Oh, man. Yeah, dude, that's right. I'm cracking myself up. All right, dude? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? We're all having fun here. If you guys can laugh, I can laugh. It's all good. So, Walenda brothers, sisters, siblings, I'm not that impressed. It was funny, too, because My mom was like, "Yeah, it's really crazy. This woman, she broke every bone in her face, like not too long ago." And I was like, and I looked at my dad. I was like, "Looks like it, right?" And then I held up my hand to high five him, and my dad was like, "What are you doing? I'm not gonna high five that." And then I put my hand like right near my dad. He was like, "What are you doing?" He kept like wiping my hand away, like pushing me away. "I'm not high fiving that. What are you doing?" Which, by the way, I didn't mean that. Like the woman, she actually looked really great, especially for breaking every bone in her face. She looked fantastic. She didn't even look like she broke a bone in her face. She was a pretty good looking. She was a good looking lady. I sound so disingenuous right now. That was the most disingenuous way to say someone's good looking. She's pretty good. I mean, listen, I think I can see other people looking at her and being like, dude, she's really attractive. This sounds so fucking douchey. Whatever, it's honest, man. But she looks great for breaking every bone in her face. So I obviously was kidding when I said that. I just wanted my dad to be uncomfortable. I just knew my dad would be like, what are you talking about? Because he kept laughing, but at the same time, he was like, get away from me. Also, when you say something like that, it's so obviously a joke. Looks like it, am I right? Like I was being so goddamn sarcastic. I always say the most sarcastic stuff to my mom, and she always reacts like, Jake! She reacts like I'm not doing it solely for sarcasm. Like my mom, like, I slowly curse in front of my mom just so that she can be like, what are you doing? If my mom's driving me somewhere and like some guy cuts her off or something, I'm like, yo, you know what's wrong with that guy? You know what I hate about that guy? And my mom's like, what? I'm like, that guy's a cunt. And then my mom goes, ah, but like halfway through it, because she already knows I'm saying it. Jake, don't say that. It's gotten to the point now though she knows it's coming. I'm like, you know what's wrong with that guy? And she goes, I know what you're gonna say. Why are you? How are you getting offended at something that I'm clearly saying just for that reason alone? The moment someone does something to get a specific reaction out of you, don't you just not have that reaction anymore? That's what happens to me. Fuck. God damn it. Sorry, that was I don't know if you guys heard that. That was the timer going off, and my fucking touchscreen is so smudged and gross and outdated that it takes 9 hours to turn it off. All right, dude. That's the first half of the podcast. I'll get into some other stuff when I come back. Listen, dude, I just spent like a half hour talking about Walenda siblings, so it is what it is, man. That's the podcast. I'll see you in the next half. All right, and we're back. We're back, my friends, my family, my podcast family. Just start saying really weird shit to make you guys uncomfortable. My podcast brethren, my cultish followers. No, I'm not fucking Crystalia, dude. This is not a cult. This is just a friendly listening party. That's all this is. This is a nice, just gentle, hey, my commute is boring. Let's fucking listen to this asshole for a little bit. Take my mind off my life. That's what this podcast is. This podcast is an excursion from your own brain. At least that's what I want it to be. I want it to be, hey, I don't want to think about my life right now. Let me go listen to this asshole talk about his. I need a vacation from my goddamn mind. All right. Anyway, what should we talk about? Talked about the Walenda siblings for way too long. I guess I'll talk about this. Let's talk about something nice. And I guess it's a theme. This might as well become a segment on this podcast. Is Jake talks about love. Dumb fuck talks love. That's what this segment is called. So I have a good example now, because the I think last podcast, I say that so much, by the way. I think on the other podcasts, a few podcasts ago, goddamn repetitive Jake. You know, some people call me repetitive or redundant. I just like to call it thorough, okay? I just make sure you don't just hear my point once, but you hear it 7 times, and then you hear it an 8th and 9th time, and then you go, okay, I really get it, you're beating a dead horse, and then you hear it 13 more times, and then you never forget what the fuck I was saying because I beat it into your goddamn brain. All right, no, but on last week's podcast, I was talking about how men have a great ability to fall in love from across the room, or to fall in love immediately with someone they barely know. They might have only seen a picture of, or they might have only talked to for a second, right? And that might not be a male trait. That might just be a human trait of like, it's so rare that you have a genuinely fun conversation with another human being, a genuinely engaging conversation with another human being that you potentially want to fornicate with, that when you have that conversation and you also are attracted to the person and they're attracted to you, your brain just goes, I need to fucking figure this out. I need to do something with this person. We need to figure this out. We both are into each other. We both had a good conversation. We both think each other are cute as fuck. How do we do this? So I was about to delete my OkCupid because I deleted every other app because I'm trying to get off all the apps. The only one I have left is OkCupid. And I've gotten to a point where I'm either going to be celibate for a while, or I'm going to create a dating video. That's where I am right now. I'm either going to delete all my profiles and then only talk to people who blow my fucking mind, and only communicate with people who blow my mind. No more frivolous, hey, how's it going? No more like, well, this person's cute, but I don't really like him that much, but it's fun to be around him. No more of that. Just like choose to be, hey, I'm only talking to or pursuing somebody who makes my brain melt. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for that rare person, and when I find her or they find me, we go for it. We go full throttle, as the mommies would say on Your Mom's House. We go full force, okay? We go gung-ho. I'm making references to shit you guys probably don't even know about. But if you do listen to other podcasts, then my references will make sense to you. Anyway, so I'm either going to do that, or I'm going to make a dating video. Okay? I'm going to make a dating video and put it on my profile and be like, and have nothing on my profile besides watch this. And it's going to be a fucking old school, hey, my name's Jake. These are my likes. These are my dislikes. Why is that not a thing anymore? We need to go back to the beginning of cringy dating, which were fucking self-tapes, or like you go to a service and they make a tape for you. We need to go back to that. Okay? You know why those are so good? Because there are people who are charismatic and there are people who fucking aren't. Okay? There are people who are good on camera and people who are terrible on camera, right? So you immediately get a sense of the person. Also, sometimes people are bad on camera and it's charming as fuck. You know? They always show those cringy dudes in those videos, like in those fucking dating videos with the bad glasses and the weird facial hair, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm real good at sex. Like they say weird shit because they're cringy fucking neckbeardy dudes. But the ones you don't see is the nervous dude who like is a cute guy, but he like doesn't know how to talk on camera. A dating video for him works wonders. Because everyone's like, oh, he's so nervous, but he's still cute. And like, I actually like what he's saying, and his voice is nice. We're missing all the vital things we need to know on a dating app. This is the important shit you need to know. You need to know how someone sounds. You need to know what their mannerisms are. You need to know if when they smile, you feel fucking warm in your chest, or if you don't give a fuck at all. You need to know how you feel when somebody smiles, okay? I've probably said a version of this, but I'm going to say it again. What the number one thing for me is, I need to know if your smile makes me feel sick, okay? And I only know that in person or on a video, because a smile in a picture can look nice, but you don't see how it forms on the person's face. You don't see how it forms and it continues, and then their laugh is combined with it. You need to know that too. The most important things: laugh and smile for me, because you're going to be hearing that fucking laugh a lot if you have a good relationship. And if it sucks, if it's like, then I'm not talking to you anymore. And you need a good smile, because you're going to see that all the time if you have a good relationship. And you want that smile to make you want to kiss the person. That's what you want. You want a smile that makes you feel like you're going to die unless you immediately jump and kiss the person. Okay? That's what you want. And you don't get that from a fucking filtered Instagram photo. You get that from a video. So that's my point. I'm either going to make a video. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to start doing this. If you're listening to this podcast right now, I'll $50 and I will film a dating video for you, and we'll put it on OkCupid or whatever fucking app you're using, any app where you can click links, and I guarantee you will get quadruple the matches that you have now, because someone will see what you're actually like, and I guarantee you it's better than your stupid fucking photos. And here's the reason why people don't want to do videos, because there's all these people. Online dating would be shifted drastically if they had some sort of online dating that was all video, because right now there's a lot of people who are very savvy with pictures, very savvy, but the problem with that is when you meet the person, you're disappointed, because you're like, oh, you created an image, or you created a human that you aren't, that you don't look like. But if you have a video, you can't lie on video. It's very hard to lie on video. It's more involved to edit a video to make it so that you look a certain way or sound a certain way or whatever the fuck. And the people who are very good at the photo game would not use the video, because they'd be like, yeah, but now someone's going to actually know what my jaw looks like. They're going to actually know about the scar in my forehead. You know what? Yeah. And I'm going to be more attracted to you because there's a fucking scar in your forehead. Okay? I've had crushes on plenty of girls with scars in their fucking forehead. It's hot, dude. It looks cute as shit. All right, dude? I've said this before. The flaws in your face are what make you, man. Anyway, but so I was at that point. I'm either going to make a dating video or become celibate. Or not celibate. Celibate until the point of meeting someone awesome. So I was thinking that, and then I just was like messaging random people, just like, because I was just like, fuck it. And you know what? It proves what I've said before about like at your most indifferent, at your most like, fuck it, you do well because you don't care. So you're just being normal, and you're just being open, and you're being friendly. And I think when you don't care, people can sense that you're very open and just like, hey, dude, you want to talk? Like, instead of it coming off like, let's go on a date, it comes off like, hey, how you doing? Like, I just want to find out about you as a person. Anyway, I did that shit. I was messaging random people. I messaged this girl this very stupid message that didn't make, that I myself was like, am I really going to send this? This is so fucking dumb. It was, because the girl kept putting, or woman, this woman, because she's not a girl. She's fucking dope, dude. Or she seems cool. I don't know. I don't know her because because there's no video on these profiles. No. So she kept saying something about wit in her profile. So I was like, you keep saying this word wit. What does this word wit mean? Is it an alternative type of wheat? Which is the dumbest thing I could possibly say. Corniest bullshit. I mean, it was kind of a reference to Always Sunny with jabroni. Now, this word jabroni you keep saying. Mac says that to... Charlie says that to Mac, because Mac keeps saying jabroni in the hockey episode. This word jabroni you keep saying. You keep saying this word jabroni, and it's awesome. So I was trying to do that. You keep saying this word wheat, but But, I didn't want to make a direct Always Sunny reference because sometimes people are like, what show? And then I have to be heartbroken in my first interaction with that person. I just don't want that to happen. I don't want to set anyone up for failure like that because I love Always Sunny so much that if I immediately find out you don't like it or that you think it's dumb, I don't care if you don't like a show, but if you think a good show is like dumb, I don't know, man. Like, I think Friends is like, I don't like it, but I don't think it's a dumb show. Like, if people love that show, that's cool for them. But if you say Always Sunny, oh, that show sucks, excuse me, you need to get away from me. You need to shoo away from me. Shoo, fly, don't bother me. Anyway, so I say that to this woman, this lady, as Bill Burr would say, lady, and the next morning I'm like, you know what? I'm going to delete this fucking app. And I go to delete it and I have a message from her. And it was about and also it was a great message because it was she goes, "Are you really 7'11"? Question mark. So she totally kind of disregarded and ignored my message because she was like, "Oh, that's a stupid message." Which I already appreciate the shit out of because she was like, "I'm not even going to engage with this message." She must have looked at my profile and been like, I mean, this kid's cute and that's kind of funny. I'm gonna move on to another subject and see how he does. And she goes, "Are you really 7'11"? Because on my profile, on all my dating profiles, I put maximum height, which is usually like 8'11" on most apps. Because I mean, is there anyone taller than that? Is there anyone even 8'11"? How do they choose that? Is it based off who the tallest person in the world is? Anyway, so 7'11" is the max you can do on OkCupid. Don't know why there's a foot difference between OkCupid and other apps. Maybe shorter people are on OkCupid. I have no fucking clue. That's sizes, to be honest with you. What if an 8'11" person wants to use OkCupid? They have to use other app, or they want to use OkCupid. They have to use other apps because OkCupid isn't accommodating. OkCupid's supposed to be the most accommodating dating apps to all sexualities and genders, and yet you can't be 8'11" on OkCupid. I'm calling you motherfuckers out, okay? You can't be 9 feet 11 inches on OkCupid, all right? I'm not that tall, but if I wanted to be that tall, or if I was that tall, or if I had a sibling that tall, I'd be outraged. Anyway, I'm just fucking around. It doesn't matter. No one's above 7'11". So I was like, oh, yeah, for sure. Why would I lie about that? And she goes, true, it's the internet. Why would anyone lie about anything? And then I said something like, oh, yeah, it's do you lie? Are you a liar? And then she was telling me how she always tries to be honest. And she messaged back with like 3 bricks of messages. And people don't usually do that on online dating because online dating is a complicated mess. It's a complicated dance of like, well, I'll message you now, and then 2 hours later, I'll message you 2 more words. It's like a lot of like people not wanting to come off too strong, so they don't message you that much because they're like, well, they don't know me, so I don't want to message a lot. And then if we message a lot, he's gonna think I like him too much, or she's gonna think I like her too much, and then it's gonna ruin the whole thing before it even starts. There's too much thinking involved with dating apps. Okay, dating should just be like, hey, I want to talk to this person. They're talking to me now. Let's do it. And that's what was happening. She just 3 bricks. And I was like, fuck. So I gave her a couple bricks back. Then she gave me more bricks. And then she was like, tell me something honest. And I told her, I think I said this story on the podcast about when I was 17 years old. I once argued with my girlfriend about where her clit was and how that was probably the most man shit I've ever done in my life and like one of the dumbest things I've ever done. And then I explained the whole story about how she was right. And then obviously she was right. And then, and she thought that was funny. And then I asked her something, like, to reveal something honest about her, and I'm not going to say what it was on here, but then she revealed something very honest, and then we just started fucking around and joking about, like, really crazy, dark stuff. And I was like, holy shit, it's happening, dude. I'm in that moment where it's like, oh, dude, I don't care anymore. And then all of a sudden I start talking to somebody who's actually worth talking to. Holy fuck, dude. The stars are aligning. So then I say, because the whole conversation I just keep sticking to my gut and going, you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that. Whatever. It's going well. If this is meant to be, we'll just both keep being very honest with one another. So then I just go, hey. And then at a certain point, she's like, oh, you're having this, there's a bit of a time difference. So I'm having this conversation at night. So this crazy conversation makes sense for me at night, but it doesn't make sense for you because you're in the middle of the day. So kudos to you because, you know, you're having a wild sexual conversation in the middle of the day. And I was like, yeah, well, I'm weird as fuck. I didn't say this, but I should have said, yeah, dude, I have a podcast where I talk to myself about all these topics and worse. So I'm a bad person to try and be shocked by. I say fucking weird, dumb shit. I often say things, and then later on, like a year later, someone's like, dude, remember when you said that? That was crazy. And I'm like, how is that? Most things I say that other people think are weird, I think are normal as shit. Anyway, that's besides the point. So then I'm like, you know what? This is going great. There's a time difference though. Oh, I guess she's visiting somewhere. I probably shouldn't say where she is. Anyway, I guess she's visiting somewhere. She's somewhere. Let's say she's in Africa. I'll say that. Okay. She's in India. We'll say that. She's got a bit of a time difference. I don't know why I just changed it to India instead of Africa. She's in India. She's in India. I'll say that. Is that the real place? Who knows? But so then I go, you got to get back from India so we can go on a date, or so I can ask you out, because this conversation's been going too well to not go on a date immediately. I thought that was a pretty good thing to say. It was honest. I was like, fuck, this girl's awesome. I want to talk to her in person, kiss her goddamn face. So then she goes, well, I'm coming back kind of never. I work for this humanitarian program or organization, and yeah, I'm not coming back like ever, or at least not for a long time. Which then I asked my friend, what does a long time mean? And he said 6 months to a year, and I was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, in my head, it's like a year or two is a long time. Anyway, so then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, shit. Oh, man. Damn, we just had this really good conversation, and she's very cute, and this is going well, and I was about to delete this app, and this conversation is so good. It's so fun, this conversation. And then I started really thinking, I started going, maybe I could go to India. I started genuinely thinking, like, how much is a flight to India? How do I get there cheaply and quickly? For a person I talked to for a couple of hours. That's how quickly men fall in lust with somebody or infatuation with somebody. That's how quickly somebody's like, oh man, I like this person. That's how quickly men fall in like. Men fall in like quickly. They fall head over heels in like within a conversation or two. And then they grow indifferent, and then they don't fall in love, and then it's a messy breakup, and then you want to kill yourself. But and then both parties in the relationship want to kill themselves because you're like, wait, what the fuck? You were so in like with me. Why are you not in love with me now? And the person's like, well, I don't know. I'm probably emotionally fucked up. Anyway. Oh, man. Hey, a month ago, you really liked me. I don't understand what's going on right now. Well, you held my hand that one time and it made me feel uncomfortable. I held your hand and that's why you want to break up now? Yeah, you're fucking weird. Yeah, I know. I am very weird. Sorry about that. No, I just don't want you to hold my hand unless we're in love. Why? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense for most people, but for me, it's like 6 months in, I want to hold your hand, but like 2 dates in, I don't want to hold your hand. It's this complicated thing. You're a weird psychopath. No, yeah, I know I'm a psychopath, but anyway, let's break up. Anyway, I genuinely thought that. How do I get to how long do I talk to this person before we start discussing like, hey, do I go down there? Like I start building out this thing that probably will never happen. And that's the problem with dating apps too, is that you build out expectations. You have such high fucking hopes. For what? Why do you have such high hopes? What are you doing? I don't even know this person, right? I don't know her at all. She's across the fucking world. And yet all it took was a nice conversation, a nice, fun conversation where I was laughing a lot and I was making her laugh. And she said I looked cute and I said she looked cute, and we both see each other's pictures, and then we followed each other on Insta. So now I've seen some videos of her. So I've seen her mannerisms, and now I'm like, oh, dude, when and how do I get to fucking India? And that's the fucking dumbness of the human mind, man, is our fucking ability to just like what? Develop a deep crush over the course of 2 hours. Fucking idiotic. Doesn't even make any sense, man. But we do it. We all do it. We all do it. Doesn't matter who you date. Doesn't matter if you're bisexual, pansexual, gay, straight. Doesn't matter who you're into. We all do that. We all fill ourselves with this hope of being with somebody who I don't know, who sweeps us off our feet in a conversation, you know? I don't know. I think that's a universal feeling. It's a human universal feeling of somebody out of nowhere making you go, how do I drop everything to figure out how to make this work? And it could. I mean, that's where the cliche love at first sight comes from. It comes from that feeling. It's not actual love. It's not you actually falling in love with somebody. It's just you instinctively going, oh shit, this is a person I want to at least attempt to dedicate some time to. Because that's a big thing in dating, is just wanting to dedicate time to somebody, because you rarely do. And time is the biggest commodity in life, especially as you get older. You realize more and more, oh, the thing that's most important to me is my time and who I spend it with and what I do with it. And if you meet somebody who you barely know, who you've only had mild interactions with, and you start thinking to yourself, how do I get to India? That's a person you try to have more conversations with. That's a person who you go, fuck it, let me see what's going on. But anyway, having said that, I messaged her and she didn't message me back, so I'm fucked now. No, no, I'm kidding. Having said that, the next day I messaged her and she said, can you please leave me the fuck alone? What the fuck are you doing? Having said that, now that I said all this on the podcast, if she starts listening to this podcast, I'm fucked. She's going to think I'm a psychopath. But anyway, I've been thinking about that a lot with this podcast. I'm like, dude, my dating life is going to be fucked because I'm too honest about dating on here for anyone to be like, hey, I'm going to start dating this dude. Anybody who listens to this is going to be like, why is he, I don't want him to talk about me on this now. What the fuck? I don't want to date that kid. It is what it is, man. That's the price you pay for, I don't know, talking to yourself. Got to fill the time with something. And I'm pretty young. I'm fairly young. Late 20s. What is my life right now? Or mid 20s to some people. 24 to 26 is no, it's not, dude. It's not. People say that because they don't want to be in their late 20s. I'm in my late 20s, dude. There's one mid-20. It's 25, okay? I was there last year. Now I'm 26. I'm in my late 20s. That's how it goes, okay? Stop trying to hold on to life. Let it go, man. If you're holding on to the past, you're not going to live your life, okay? If you're 26, you're in your late 20s. That's it. You're still young. You're still young. And guess what? Soon, you won't be that young anymore. That's okay. Then you'll be middle-aged. That's fine. Are you healthy? You having a happy life? Good. If you feel like a loser, if you feel diminished, if you feel like you're not doing what you should be doing, ask yourself, what will make me happy? Or what will make me feel fulfilled? What will make me feel not like a loser? And start doing those things. Unless it's like murdering people. If the answer is, how do I feel more fulfilled? Oh, I'll kill somebody. Don't do that. Go see a doctor. I'm talking about good stuff. Like if you're like, oh, I want to be a writer, but I never write. Just start writing every day, man. And this is simple shit. This is not nuanced, interesting stuff I'm telling you right now. This is simple shit I'm talking about right now. This is the most basic fucking shit I could possibly be telling you. But do it, man. Figure out the things that you want to improve in your life and start making the changes. Every time you give someone advice, it's just a form of you trying to tell yourself some advice. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm telling you guys that, but I'm talking to myself also. Make the changes you got to make and improve your life. That's what I'm trying to do. And if you're listening to the podcast, try and do that with me, man. Let's change together. I don't know why this became a motivational speaking event at the end of this fucking podcast, but it did. Anyway, I love you guys. That was the second timer. I guess we're done with the podcast. This one flew by. I love you guys. Come to my show July 7th in Brooklyn, Pine Box Rock Shop. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.
Jake, you're an idiot. Jake, you don't make any sense. Jake, you're a piece of shit.